This is the design guide for the pencil expander wallpaper ad. We'll start by previewing this ad. And as you can see, there's two elements to this page. The first is the pencil expander, which expands up and down. And the second is the wallpaper element behind. That you notice for this particular ad, when the pencil expander is expanded, the wallpaper is taken over, in this case by a repeating image of a lion head. And when the ad is collapsed, the HTML background reverts back to the standard background, in this case white. These can be set as a configuration within the builder to either only appear as wallpaper upon the activation of the ad and disappear on collapse, or to always remain behind whether the ad is expanded or collapsed. So that's the functionality. When deploying any wallpaper ad unit, as always, we add it to our library and edit, but we do not want to edit this ad from within our library. What we want to do is come over to the campaigns area. We can open up any campaign, do a new ad placement, and what we want to do is actually deploy this ad live onto a test page. The reason being, and we're going to select this from our library and select whatever ad server you use. Get ad code. And you're going to run through the process as if you are deploying this. These are going to be expanders, or they can be set to run inside of the page. This is for the pencil portion itself. Click Update. And finally, get ad code. And deploy this live to a test page, for instance, mynewspaper.com/test. The reason you do this, and the reason we always come back to the campaigns area now to edit this ad, is because when you preview from within our library or within the editing area, you'll notice the only portion that previews is the actual pencil expander itself. You're not going to see any of the wallpaper. The reason that is because if we were to show you our sample HTML newspaper page like we do within the original preview, and you set up your background image to live perfectly spaced inside that actual page, it wouldn't match one-to-one with your site. Your site's going to be laid out differently. So once you have this deployed and you're in here making changes, swapping out the background image, when you click save, you're going to move over to your HTML sample page to see how those changes look in real time on your page. And that'll give you a direct one-to-one to how that ad's going to look when it's deployed live. So now once we're inside the ad builder, again, you're always going to come to campaigns, deploy the ad, and access the editor from within the campaigns area for these wallpaper ads. I'm going to start down here in the settings. Collapse speed. Again, all the first settings here are going to be for the pencil expander portion, and the second half are going to be for the wallpaper ad itself. So starting out for the pencil expander portion, what do you want the collapse speed to be? How fast do you want it to expand? Do you want it to automatically expand on initial render? If you put yes here, this is going to drop the cookie, and if the user comes back a second time, instead of auto expanding, you can set a number of hours where that cookie will not allow it to auto expand again. So if they revisit the same page within, for instance, 24 hours, you'll have to manually expand the ad. Once 24 hours expires, the next time they come, it'll auto expand and drop a new cookie. Do you want a delay in the auto expand? If yes, for instance, if you want them to come to the page and wait 5 seconds for it to actually auto expand, you can do that here. Do you want it to automatically collapse after it auto expands? If yes, then how many seconds do you want it to take? 10 seconds later, it automatically collapses whether the user does anything or not. Those are options. Do you want it to automatically collapse if you mouse off of the ad? Yes or no? Do you want it to automatically expand if a user rolls over the ad as opposed to clicking the open button? Yes or no? You can configure the actual size of this pencil expander. If we only wanted it to be 700 pixels wide, the collapsed width by 35 pixels tall, and you typically want to make the expanded width the same, and the expanded height would be different. So this would be 700 pixels wide no matter what, but 35 pixels on collapse and 450 pixels tall on expand. Would you like to use an image or SWF file within the collapsed state of this ad. You can set that here. Type in image or SWF file. When it's expanded, would you like it to refer to an image or SWF file? Again, you refer to that here. If we typed in SWF, we can come up here to media, and you'll notice the first two options are for images. These are if you're going to use an image in the collapsed and expanded state. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice two other options, collapsed SWF and expanded SWF. And for sizes, you're just going to make those correspond to whatever you've put as the sizes for the collapsed and expanded areas within the settings. Now you can upload both an image and an SWF file, and it'll simply ignore the one that you haven't referenced down here. Final settings here, do you want to move the open or close button to the bottom when expanded? That's explanatory. Self-explanatory, use the custom images for the close button, yes or no. If you put yes, again, come back up here to media, and instead of using our standard little square, you can upload 3 different button types here. You can upload an up image, and this is a good example. This is an up image of the preview button. When I roll over it, there's an over image, and then when I click on it, a down image. You'll see there's kind of 3 separate views of that button. And you can upload those here. Finally, close button on the left or right hand side, that shifts it to the left or right. And do you want to disable the click-through hit area, meaning do you want them to be able to click through to a website, an advertiser website, yes or no? Or do you want to disable it? If we click no, then the hit area will be enabled and they will be able to click through. The next set of settings now refers to the HTML background image or wallpaper image. So if I click on media here, you'll notice that the third option from the bottom says HTML background image. This is your wallpaper image. It can be any JPEG, PNG, or GIF, and it can be any size you like. So first question, would you like that image to repeat? You can actually upload a tiny image. It could be a 200 by 200 or smaller, whatever you want, and you can set it to repeat, either repeat X horizontally across the screen or repeat Y starting at the top like a typewriter. It goes all the way to the bottom and then starts the next row down. So this is basically, would you like it to repeat across rows or down columns? The next section or next selection, HTML image positioning. Would you like to start at the top left, center, right? This again depends on how your site is configured, meaning if you have a center justified website, most often you're going to want to set this to the center and have it repeat to the left and right on each row. If, however, you have a left justified website, you'll probably want to start that image in the left-hand corner and have it repeat out to the right across each row. Do you want to change the background color of the HTML page? This comes into play more if you're using one large image instead of multiple tiling images. If they're tiling, they're just going to continue to tile off the screen no matter how big or how high the settings for the browser window are on a particular advertiser's or viewer's window. If you're using one large image, which is going to fit perfectly around your website, and you have some space off to the side or outside of that image, you can change that color to match more closely the actual background image that you're uploading. Finally, do you want to use the wallpaper image? In most instances, you're going to say yes for this ad. And then finally, when do you want that wallpaper image to load? Do you want it to happen right when the ad actually shows up on the page? So for instance, when the pencil expander loads, do you want it to always show the background image? If yes, you say on render, meaning that's going to always show the background image whether or not that pencil expander is expanded or collapsed. If you only want it to show up on expand, like we showed you earlier in the preview, you set to on expand here, and it's only when they actually expand the window does the background take over, and upon collapse, the background image will go away again. That's it for the preview. As always, you can call us at 866-467-2289 with any questions.